Today, we're testing some of the best-selling new fragrances at Sephora versus some of the worst-selling new fragrances at Sephora to determine if some of these fragrances are overhyped or if we'll find some hidden gems. First up, we have Viktor & Rolf Spice Bomb Dark Leather. As you would expect, this is a fragrance that's dark, seductive, and mysterious, very similar to what you would expect from almost every Viktor & Rolf fragrance ever. Now, if you're ever wondering what is a best-selling fragrance on Sephora, traditionally you go to the website, you sort best-selling, and there you go. But if you're looking for the worst-selling fragrances, you typically go all the way down to the bottom. Now, I'll tell you that Sephora's website is a tad bit different because it does take a little finesse to figure it out. And it was a little too much for me, so I just went to the store and asked them what was up. Now, if memory serves me correctly, I believe that there are about 8 different variations of Spice Bomb, and I think that each one of them have been great. The Eau Fresh, the Night Vision, the original, and especially Extreme, you know, that fragrance is legendary. But this one truly does stand out. When you look at this one on the shelf, everything about this fragrance just says this one's refined, a little bit more mature than you might expect from the others, but also a little bit more mysterious. This one is phenomenal. Listen, on first spray, this thing is dope, and I would see why it's easily one of the best sellers and will continue to be just growing and growing and growing across all of their fragrances within their stores. Now, Viktor & Rolf to me has always been a fragrance company that has done dark and seductive correctly. When we think of date night fragrances, Spice Bomb Extreme tends to stand out, and I would imagine that this fragrance is going to be one of those top contenders when it comes to fall and winter. On first spray, you're gonna get everything you would expect from a Spice Bomb flanker. In fact, I would say that this is closer on first spray than what you would get with Night Vision or Infrared. That this one does start off with those subtle nuances of Spice Bomb, and then it has this backbone of leather, but it's not an overpowering leather, it's super enjoyable. My quick synopsis of this one is it's bold, it's sexy, and just a wee bit dangerous. And although it does have a pin, you pull this one out when you're ready to explode. At the time of filming this video, Spice Bomb Dark Leather has 704 reviews on the Sephora website, and it has 4.5 stars. So far, so good. One I'm happy to have in a collection, and you would be as well. Oh, at least I think so. Next up, we have Afternoon Delight from Maison Margiela. Now, to be fair, this one was actually sent to me, so the presentation is a little different. However, this one could be found at Sephora. It is there, ready to go. In fact, at the time of filming this video, this one has 210 reviews on Sephora and 29,000 likes. That is far more than our worst selling fragrance that we'll discover in just a bit. So the presentation in terms of the bottle is very similar to what you would expect from a Margiela presentation. You got a clear bottle, you got this white cotton type label, and this string wrapped around the atomizer there that really provides a simple, clean, and subtly sophisticated look. Now, one thing I've always appreciated about Margiela fragrances is that the label kind of gives you everything you need to know about the fragrance. So the name, Afternoon Delight, as we already know, the province and period, it's Paris 1996. Spoiler alert, if you're going there in 1996, I don't think Jay-Z and Kanye West were there yet. So you wait a couple of decades, all right? Also, you have Warm Vanilla from Madeline, and then also Memory in Fragrance. And that pretty much means that's the scent description, which means it's for everyone. Let's spray this thing on and see what it's all about. The vanilla is alive, it's well, it's present. You can definitely get it, but this one is for sure a softer fragrance, far softer than what we experienced with Viktor & Rolf Dark Leather. Now, in spraying this fragrance, I'm getting something that's more of a cozy vibe, and it's definitely more of a unisex scent. And some guys out there are gonna say that, I don't care how well this fragrance sells, this one isn't for me. And if you were the person to say that, I would say I kinda understand where you might be coming from. I say that this is gonna take a special type of guy who's comfortable with himself to wear this fragrance, because it does lean a bit more feminine, so to speak, in terms of the scent profile versus it being a manly scent. And some guys just won't be for those feminine leaning fragrances. Now, in addition to the vanilla here, you're also getting some musk, and there's also some sandalwood. So those combined bring something together that's creamy, a little bit woody, but it's not like a super earthy scent. All in, it's an extremely clean fragrance and a super wearable vanilla fragrance. If you're looking for a gourmand scent, I would say that this one would be along those lines without overdoing it. Personally, I am a gourmand lover, so I can smell like the foodiest of the foods when it comes to notes like coffee and toffee and vanilla and chocolate. Like, I am all for that. Praline, count me in. But some people aren't for it, and if you're not, then I think that this one kind of eases you into that scent profile. So far, I would say it's a decent scent, but not a great scent for me. However, if you're between the ages of 18 and 25, you are a female and you like fragrances that will smell clean, smell inviting, then I think that this is probably more up your alley. I'm more so of a dark leather type of guy. Now, this is one of the best-selling fragrances, but I think it has something to do with the time, especially when we're looking at new fragrances out there. But all in, Margiela has a good name behind their brand and they make quality stuff. So far with this fragrance, I'm impressed, but it's not one that I would be reaching for a ton. Now, let's turn our attentions to our worst-selling fragrance. From the house of Versace, we have Versace AOS Energy. Poor oh. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This is supposed to be the ultimate summer fragrance filled with, boom, a burst of energy, but it's just not resonating with people. At the time of filming this video, Versace AOS Energy has 1,400 likes on Sephora, but 0 reviews. And the only reason that this fragrance, in my opinion, is one of the worst selling fragrances is because it's new. It hasn't had time to amass a ton of purchases, so therefore, by default, it's worse selling than the other 2 new fragrances that we discussed. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about what this fragrance smells like. Now, what I'll tell you is that Versace AOS Energy comes from a long line of banging Versace fragrances, especially in the AOS lineup. I remember that I got my first bottle of AOS when it came out. I was like the first batch. I still had that bottle, and I've gotten the others that have come afterwards. And I'll tell you, I wasn't expecting an energy version, but Versace tends to know what they're doing. Many times when we think of citrus-based fragrances, sometimes they come off as household cleaners, and I think Versace, at least on first spray, has done a good job of straying away from that. And when I think about the Versace AOS lineup, those fragrances all have some type of citrus nature to them, but they're kind of undertones. This one here brings it to the forefront. Now, according to the Sephora website, this should have Italian bergamot, should have some white amber, and it should also have some musk. So we did pick up that zestiness from the bergamot here, but the last fragrance that we had also had musk in it, and that was more laid back. This one here is more in your face, more aggressive, but it's not like a pungent scent. It's really, really pleasing in my personal opinion. Although Versace AOS Energy is a spring and summer fragrance, I do believe that this fragrance has enough oomph to it to be worn in the early portions of fall. When I say the early portions of fall, I mean like right now. Now, I live in Texas and the weather is still in a good place. It's not super cold yet. In fact, it's not cold at all. It still gets extremely hot. I would say that this is a fragrance that I would feel comfortable wearing, and in fact, I am going to put it into the rotation this week. So there you have it. These are our 3 best and worst selling fragrances at Sephora, and in my personal opinion, we found a gem, and this one is not overhyped. So if I had to purchase these fragrances all over, again, this one was sent to me, here's what I would do. I would go Spice Bomb, Dark Leather. That would be my first pick. It's masculine, it's sexy, it's sensual, it's seductive, and a tad bit dangerous. Next, I'm going Versace AOS Energy, simply because the time of the year, I would get more wear out of this one than I would here. And finally, I will round things off with Afternoon Delight. That's my take, and those are the best and worst selling new fragrances at Sephora. Let me know which fragrances that you would pick up if you were at Sephora right now. If you enjoyed this video, then click here to see what happened when I purchased the best new fragrances at Macy's.